Well, hello, Chameleon Academy. I am getting us all set so I can actually do uh, some fecal stuff here, and yeah, I'm having fun getting all the camera angles right. Let's see. I go check chat. Bet you everybody's asking where I am. Oh man, my goodness, there's so many people here already. Bill, can you talk about your husbandry for the Shamrock cams? Yes, I can. I absolutely can. Hello, Warren. Hello, Nicole. I am not Nicole. Nicholas. And oh yeah, oh my goodness, the natives are restless. Yes. I'm running late a little bit. I have no reason for your capture ransom. All right. Congrats, Hector, for making the Chameleon Journal. Hector, Bill sleeping in today. You know what, Dean? Oh, Dean's here. Oh, everybody, if you look in the journal, Dean is the one who did the article about the chameleon food. Hello, Dean. And yet, and yes, it was a late night for me getting all that together. That was till 3 a.m. my time, and boy, that was fun. I'm not a 3 a.m. type guy. Let's see if I can get this angle a little bit better. Sorry for all of that. Ready for the poops. You know what? Oh my goodness. There was so much. Let me see if I can get the right angle on this. Yikes. The amount of drama involved in getting that chameleon poop. You wouldn't believe it. Let me see if I can get a better stand for my camera. Everybody just wait patiently while I get my life together here. Oh, I like that one better. So I really wanted all of you to be able to see some chameleon poop or some eggs today. And so, of course, what I did is I fed them all yesterday. And then this morning, I gave them all sorts of water last night. And then this morning, they all got a rain shower. And they weren't giving me any poop. And it was like, come on, guys, I need some poop. I want it now. You know, I got people waiting to see poop. So luckily, last minute, right before, I literally just came running in here, got 2 poops for you. Woo. So hello, Sean. Let's see, cold or hot brew this today. So that's Howard asking about what coffee I have brought to the Chameleon Academy. The answer is it's a drip coffee, and it's hot. I know that, Howard, you are somewhat disposed to hot coffee, and you don't understand my enjoyment of the cold coffee. Well, let's see. But today, hello, Gabriel. Today I have hot coffee. Well, let's ask some questions while I settle down, because I was literally running around here. And as you can see, I got my microscope. I got my new camera mount that I can't wait to show you. Let's see. Michael Lloyd's asking, I have a clutch of eggs that started sweating a week ago. Come Sunday, at what point should I start to worry? Well, Michael, there isn't a whole lot you can do. So worrying isn't going to help you one bit. They're either going to hatch or they're not going to hatch. This whole idea of cutting the eggs open or helping them out, yeah, people have done that. But if you've got to do that, there's something wrong. And so at this point, they either come out or they don't. A week is kind of long for that to happen. You just got to wait to see what happens. If it shrivels up and no one gets out, then it's a bad sign. Anybody here cut eggs open? Good. We'll do a crowdsourcing advice on this one. I don't cut eggs open. I don't squeeze babies out. Now, I specifically want them to be the strongest possible, and so I've got that's my motivation. But so anyway, what do you guys all do? Let's go to the chat and figure this out. Let's see. James just checking in downtown LA. Ah, no. Okay. Well, James, you have a fun time with your father. Sweden. Hello, Krister. My Chameleon Academy cup, of course. Okay, well, you know what? I wish they sold more products. All right, I'm gonna have to do that. I am gonna have to make a custom cup for Chameleons and coffee for us all to have, because this is a special afternoon and we should have our own cup. So I'm going to design that. Nicholas says, I woke up at 3:30 a.m. and was reading the new Chameleon Journal entries. Really enjoyed it. I'm glad. Wow, Nicholas, you may have been the first one, because I literally released it around 3 a.m. So you may have been the first one to get it. Saw your nematode egg. Yes, Howard. I have a great nematode egg that I was able to do in the newsletter. So those of you who got the newsletter, I have a picture of a nematode egg in there. It's amazing what we love, isn't it? Are we putting coffee under the microscope today? We are not. I'm going to drink a little bit of coffee, and then I'm going to get this microscope set up, and you all are going to do it. You see all this great adapter right here? This allows the camera in my phone, which is a lot better than this hunk of junk, to put it on there as if it was a guest. Yes, my microscope is going to be a guest today. As I am about how coffee, the only way to drink it, in my view. Okay, we got a number of coffee purists here on this show, and I don't want to. We don't need any sort of like tension or anything, but I'm going to say everybody's welcome. Hot, cold, even Mountain Dew, Sean, even Mountain Dew. Tea. I know there's some tea drinkers, so we're just going to all have to get along. And can you tell us a little bit about the husbandry for the shamrock chameleons? Absolutely, Eliza, and I will do so. And I will do so after, let's see. Today I am double fisting it. It is coffee with ginger brew. I enjoy my ginger brew. Miguel finally got his first Chameleon Academy shirt. Excellent. All right, let's see. So here's some responses about the egg. Nicholas just has had one egg and it worked perfectly for him, so he has no experience with the eggs having trouble. Let's see. Howard's saying, only assist them if they broke the egg open and they're laying half in, half out for too long. Oh, okay. All right. That makes sense. So, woo. All right. I am going to go ahead and start getting my camera here hooked up. In the meantime, I will tell you a little bit about O'Shaughnessy husbandry. As well as drink my coffee. O'Shaughnessy are deep forest species. They are, whereas the panther chameleon is very gregarious. If you give them an open area up front and then a thick area in the middle, they will appreciate having the security of knowing that they've got that thick area. But most of the time, like panther chameleons, you'll see them on top, just looking at the world. The shamrock chameleons are more of a deep forest species. They don't like UVB. If you put on a strong UV index of 3, like for panthers, they will go down. They'll be at the bottom of the cage trying to get away from it. And and they like to hang out in the lower light areas. Now, I see them up by the lights, but I've noticed they like to hang around a lot more in the middle areas. And that tracks with what I saw in Ranamafana, where, I mean, the foliage, it's just dense, huge trees. And so that makes sense. Now, I want to kind of set the stage for what I'm doing with the shamrock chameleon. The problem with determining husbandry with just a small group, especially one that just came in from wild caught. I mean, I've had some for over a year, and so I have a little bit of idea of personality. But the thing is, I got to be careful not to make assumptions, because sometimes the husbandry the husbandry behavior that I see is in a result of a husbandry parameter that I have put on them. And so it's going to take time before I try all those different parameters. I figure out what they're reacting to and what they like better, because at this point, anybody else who's ever had an O'Shaughnessy eye will come out and say, well, mine love UVB. Yeah, what did you do? So, but the whole idea behind what I'm doing here is that over the next 14, 15, 18 months, I am going to be putting them through the paces, as in I'm going to be giving them different parameters, different caging, different lighting levels, and I'm going to be experimenting within the group to figure out what it is they really like. See, when I put together a care guide, my goal is not just to replicate what works for me. I want to put onto that care guide what was going to work for the widest number of people out there. And so I have to get out of my own experience. I have to challenge my experience, because there could be something that I have, maybe my environment, my weather, that makes it easy for me. And for me to go out and say, it's easy for everybody, it's not going to be the same. And so there's going to be a lot of experimenting that I do, because and if you listen to my podcast that I just released or read the Chameleon Academy Journal about establishing a new species, I don't get to claim victory until the first generation breeders are able to be successful raising up their babies, getting them to breed, and selling them and getting them out. There'd be enough market for that. Me reproducing them, that's a woo, that's a celebration, and you're all going to be here for it. We're all going to celebrate, but that's not claiming victory. That's nothing. People have reproduced chameleons. That's what chameleons do. We just have to get out of the way of chameleons, and they will reproduce. So that's not really the greatest victory trophy I'm going to take home. It's when somebody else can take the care guides that I have and be successful. That's when I can claim a bit of a victory. So I have a pretty high level, high standard as to what I'm shooting for. And it's really going to take the next year and a half for me to really put all that together. But my dedication, for all of you who are interested in shamrock chameleons and want to get serious about it, my commitment, I guess you would say, is I want to make you successful. I want this to be a project where there's a number of first generation breeders that are able to have success with this chameleon. And that's what it takes to establish something. Hey, we got Madagascar here. Patrick, is that you? We've been talking about O'Shaughnessy eye, and I saw Patrick. Patrick's the one who went with me and took me to see the O'Shaughnessy eye in Ranamafana. Yay! Hey, Patrick, very good to see you. Very good to see you. Let's see. WizBiz, are the fisher chameleons subspecies readily available? No. Not the official fisher eye. The official fisher eye are from the Kinyongia, which fisher eye, multituberculata, all those are from Tanzania, not imported. There is the Kinyongia bomi, which is sometimes called the dwarf fishers from Kenya, and that is available whenever there's Kenyan imports, although that's spotty, so you just got to keep your eye open for that one. Gabriel says, I love that you started calling the O'Shaughnessy eye shamrock chameleons. Yeah, and for those of you wondering what's going on, people were not wanting to say O'Shaughnessy eye, and I started calling them O's, and then other people started calling them O's because O'Shaughnessy eye, O'Shaughnessy's chameleon doesn't roll off the tongue. And so I was saying, oh, no, we can't do this. I can't be responsible for them calling them O's. Let's give them a real cool name. And with common names, that's perfectly acceptable. There's nothing wrong with us calling them shamrock chameleons. It's a common name. I mean, importers bring them called, that's a Rainbow Jackson's, and it sticks. I mean, so if they can do it, we can do it. We're trying to establish this species, and we want to give them a name that we enjoy. That's what common names are for. Something descriptive, and it's named after an Irish scientist. They've got the incredible emeralds and turquoise, and so I think shamrock is a perfect name. And Gabriel, I'm glad you enjoy it as well. What plants have you had success with having constantly soaked potted soil? That's a tough one. Venus flytrap. Yeah, that's a joke. That's not good for chameleons. Let me see. Let me put this. Just gonna get my camera up here. All the shades of green is perfect for them. Yeah. Oh, these shamrock chameleons are so cool. But one thing I do know, I can tell you, is that the standard 2x2 by 4 foot tall cage is going to be an okay cage for these. They're not entirely, once they're happy, they're not going to be entirely all over the place. But they do need thick foliage. That's important to them. Let's see, Face ID. You want to do? I got to set up this phone. All right, let's see if I can make this working. Putting everything together. Allow access. Okay. I'm going to, right now, for those wondering what the heck's going on, I am setting up my studio. So you all can see the microscope station. And test. Gosh. So I need to, for some reason, sorry, everybody. For some reason, it won't let me totally shut this off, which is strange. So this program, we're going to deal with a little bit of echo. Hopefully you guys can't hear that, and that's only on my side. So, all right. Anyway, all right. A little bit of more of this. I better get some slides going. Let's see. Wizbiz is asking, is there a list somewhere of commercially available species no longer sold or bred in the U.S.? There's no official list of anything. I mean, you just gotta, if you're in with the chameleon community, you kind of get an idea of what's going on. But there's no official list. This is not a terribly organized situation. So. All right, so everybody, we can mill about here. I will talk a little about what's going on. So how many of you got to see the journal? For those who don't know, I create a journal, which is a digital magazine for the Chameleon Academy. And everybody, I'm putting this together. And I release it every other month. And the last issue was released early this morning at 3 a.m. for me, which it was quite the night for me. But I love putting this thing together so much. I am hardly a professional magazine putter togetherer, but it's not the journal is not meant to be a magazine, a professionally made magazine out into the world and all that kind of stuff. It's really just meant for us here. It's meant for the Chameleon Academy. All of us that love chameleons and just want to hang out and read about chameleons and know what's going on the Chameleon Academy. So that's what it's for. And I think it's doing a great job. I love it. And I love putting it together. So did anybody let me know if you guys know if you've seen it. I'd love to talk about it. And what do you think about the articles, especially when we're talking about the establishing a new species? That is something that I have been passionate about for many years, and it's not easy to do. Let's see. Read this morning, really enjoyed it. Excellent, Eliza Ann. Glad you enjoyed it. Love how the pages turn and all the photos. Yeah, that is so cool. Let's see. Arwan has a question. Can you help my chameleon? he has a swollen foot and has not been moving around as much. Would know what it may be. All right. Well, swollen foot can be a number of things. One thing that it can be is, okay, I'm going to try to move this here without causing a whole lot of destruction. So a swollen foot could be that it was damaged and it's swollen just like it would be swollen if we damaged our hand. It could be gout. If the chameleon is older, that's definitely a possibility. So you got to figure out what the reason is. If it's broken, then you may get swelling, and you better get that poor guy to a vet because he's going to need it. So I would strongly suggest going to the vet on this one because it sounds like something is not going well, and you're going to want to get that checked out because if it is a problem, a medical issue, then this could spread, and it could be a real problem for the health of your chameleon. So, hi, Bill. Should I be misting different in the UK versus the US? So when lights on and not when lights off. I have a panther. Your misting schedule depends upon your ambient humidity and things that are going on and how much more humidity and moisture you need in the air. Now, that's what I would say with fogging. With mister, the question is, do you have enough condensation on the leaves? And I always like to have condensation on the leaves because that's where the chameleon will drink. But as far as UK versus US, I mean, it really doesn't matter the location. In the US, we have such a wide variety of conditions, from the dry Southwest to the very humid and cold Northwest to the humid and hot Southeast. So in the US, we have to deal with everything. But the thing is, usually in the UK, and I'm going to generalize here, so be understanding, don't take offense. You have cold and I believe you have very humid nights because you have that fog rolling in. That's kind of a London thing. I really don't know what the other areas are going to see. And in that case, you don't want to be fogging at night because you're just going to overdo it. So what's really important is what's it like inside your house where the chameleon is, and then make a judgment from there. We never should be saying this is the schedule that should be implemented. If you look at my Chameleon Academy, all of my care guides, if you go onto the website where I talk about how to implement the things on the care guides, it's always, this is a basic. This will help most people get started right. But then after that, you've got to watch your conditions and watch your chameleon and adjust to those conditions. And so you very likely will be in a place where you don't need as much fogging and misting as other places. Let's see. I am getting a Parsons chameleon, and it's all your fault, Bill. I take full responsibility for this consequence. How are you? What kind of Parsons are you getting? Oh, that's exciting. That's exciting. Let's see. Okay, we've got 20 minutes for those to sit. Those are fresh, and I hope we find something in those poops. My male chameleon has crystals on his nose. Did I do something wrong? Johanna, no, especially if this is a veil. This is very common. This is just the salt deposits coming on its nose, kind of like marine iguanas. So it's completely normal. Just don't worry about it. You can just knock it off or just let it come off on its own. So completely normal. Looney, who you buying it from? We all want to know about your new Parsons, Looney. 23 watching and only 4 thumbs up. Show this man some love and support. Oh, thank you, Cartel from Hell. That's right. If everybody, you're on to YouTube, hit the likes and let YouTube know. And in fact, share this with a friend. Hit the share thing and let YouTube know that this is a good place to be. It's interesting. I've been doing this for over a year and a half, and Uh, YouTube just it's really is stayed a little tight knit community of chameleon people. We haven't hit. It's not like it's gotten off to the mainstream and people seeing it. So it's we've got a nice little group here going on here. I enjoy it. I enjoy it. Of course, getting out there and getting all the likes and getting all the subscribers, that's necessary in this social media world. That is a sign of success and all of that. But uh, it's nice having a small, tight-knit group of people who actually care. Let's see. I was at the vet's today. They said it could be gout. He's 5 years old. Can chameleons die from gout? Can they die from gout? The problem with gout is it's just crystals in the joints, and so it really makes it painful to move. And so I don't know that they're going to die from that. I imagine if it spreads to the body, it will. But my chameleons that have had gout as in old age have died from something else other than gout. So something else acted quicker than gout. And then there's Florida. We are not 9 in our own. Yeah, Florida's in its own category. That's a strange land. It's land down under. Liza Ann's asking if I wanted to be a small breeder and only have one pair to breed so I can keep them at pet quality. Would that still be helpful in establishing a species, or do F1 breeders need to have more pairs? No. Oh, Eliza, and this is going to be a huge topic going forward, because I believe the only way for success is if we can get a strong foundation of small batch breeders. And these are breeders that have 1 or 2 pairs, and that's it. They keep it at pet quality, and they keep their breeding operations small. This makes it manageable, and this makes it so more people can do it. One of the biggest problems with this breeder setup is what happens if something happens to the main breeder. Like me, I'm going to have quite a few pairs, and I specifically am doing that because I want to provide multiple bloodlines to the community. What if something happens to me somewhere along the way? Earthquake, anything could happen, and for some reason I'm taken out of the breeding pool. We need to have enough breeders out there to be able to handle attrition. And this is having one in the F1 stage. Yes, definitely having 1 pair or 2 pairs, both of those very small, is going to be critical for our success. So absolutely, please, I would love it to have a lot of people out there with just 1 pair, and those people can have babies, and they can trade baby bloodlines with other people that have 1 pair. And it's a point where if you trade with other people, you are able to sell unrelated pairs to your customers without having to have 2 pairs in your breeding group. So there's all of this structure. We don't really do this in the chameleon community, and actually it's not really done in the reptile community as a whole, but it's been talked about. And so this is a great experiment as to whether we can pull it off. And that's perfect. It's a perfect thing for us to do at the F1 level. So yes, Eliza, and getting 1 pair would be perfect. Would love it. Let's see. Looney Bins is getting a Parsons. I believe she was supposed to be a yellow giant, but wasn't sure. Coming from your Primo Chameleons. Yeah, okay. Genevieve, my rescue Parsons ate 2 big roaches. Nicola says your success comes from helping and sharing your experience and knowledge with all of us. Yeah, it is. That's my passion. It's not to breed another species of chameleon. It's can I make other people successful? Can I not facilitate other people to be successful? That is my definition of leadership. And this was huge. I used to be in the martial arts, do a lot with the martial arts. And I noticed there were two types of teachers within the martial arts. One of them defined their success by how many students they had that were loyal to them. And then there was the other kind that was much more rare, who defined their success by how many students went off to create their own schools. And so I really believe the true leader creates other leaders. And that's what I want to do with the Shamrock Chameleon. I want to create other breeders. I want the community to be created so it stands alone. I don't want to be the only breeder. Don't want to corner the market. That is so short-sighted. And that to do that would mean that this entire project dies with me. And this isn't just hyperbole. We've had this before in the community where people want to be the only ones with the species. They try to corner the market. They try to buy up any that's available so other people can't get it. And then they make sure that they don't send, I literally, I'm not joking about this. This has actually happened more than once. People refuse to sell a female to a person who has only a male because they don't want another breeder. That is so short-sighted, and that's not what I'm here for. I want to create, if any of you want to work with Shamrock Chameleons, I want to make you successful with captive hatched pairs. And that's so enjoyable. Don't get, if you really love wild caughts and acclimating wild caughts, go ahead, be part of the founder breeders. But it is so miserable. I'm looking at poop every day, and I've got these chameleons that are just kind of because they've been through so much, and so there's so much that you have to do to acclimate them. If you looked at the chameleon that we named Shamrock, you see all those marks on its back where he's been in fights in the wild, and so these chameleons have been through a lot. No, the most incredible experience is when you get a pristine, unrelated pair of captive hatched, male and female, and you get to see them at their very best, the very best colors, the perfect tails. That's where the joy is. So definitely look forward to being part of the F1 generation. And if there was already wild-caught breeders working with the species, I would be first in line for the F1 generation. Let's see. Currently looking into carpets, helmeted, and shamrocks. Just doing my research now. Liza Ann, helmeted are a little bit hard to find, and there isn't a whole lot of community around those. So carpets, definitely. That's like your quick fix. That'll get you going really quick. Shamrocks will be in about 1.5 years. So you got time. Yeah, practice with. Go ahead, I would say go ahead, go with the carpets. That has. The difference between carpets and helmeted, as far as the market, is you may have trouble finding people to buy your baby helmeted. This is Trioceras honelli, and it's just a lesser known chameleon. It's not very flashy, and as all of my decades of experience have shown me, the key is familiarity. What species do people know about? And people know about carpets. Right now, they are, you say a carpet's available and it's gone. Frank Payne's carpet, he had 10 carpets available and they were gone within minutes. So that would be a very good experience. I know when most people think about what chameleon do I want to work with and breed, they usually think about which one do I like and which one would be fun. And that is true, but the true success is going to be the chameleon that you have customers for and you can find homes for the babies. And right now, carpet chameleons are an excellent choice for that. And really, that's my challenge with the Shamrock chameleons. I've got 1.5 years to, and then, after that, but to create an awareness, a familiarity. And this isn't just me doing a slick line here. I mean, these are incredible chameleons, but there's so many different incredible chameleons. It's my job to make sure people realize what incredible chameleon this is and say, hey, this is going to be fun to be. This is going to be a fun community to be part of. One of the secrets here is with these breeding groups is that it's not just the chameleon, it's the community that builds up around the chameleon. And that's what we're doing here, really. This is all right here. We're building a community around the shamrock chameleon. We're going to have fun. We're all going to have fun together doing it. Let's see. So can they come back from gout? Gout's a real tough thing. Someone's asking, who's got a chameleon with gout? And gout is a really tough thing to come back from. There are some medicines that can be given that will help dissolve the salt, the minerals, the crystals around the joints. But it's a tough thing. It's a long process. And the thing is, if your chameleon has it and is old, they're already weak, and so they're going to have a hard time. So try allopurinol. I think that's the name of it. I forget the exact name of the medicine, but try. At the very least, even if he's on his last 6 months of life, it's worth it to make those comfortable. The crystals in his hands make it so it's very difficult to grip, and to a chameleon, that's life. And so even if you don't in the end save his life, because if he's old, you can at least make it comfortable, and so it's worth it. Worth it. So liking the t-shirt, by the way. Oh, good. I'm glad you like that. You can get that. You go on the website chameleonacademy.com and you can get the t-shirt. There's a store. All right, people. It is time. Come on. Come on. Let's see some eggs. Let's see some eggs. All right. We're going to see if I can. All right, I'm gonna try. Give me a second here. You just got my screen. Excellent. I'm glad. What martial arts were you into? Currently train every day. I've just started fighting amateur. I was in the Bujinkan Taijutsu, often called ninjutsu. I've often heard of people having to sign contracts and able to get certain ones. Yeah. There's some things that have gotten out of hand here. But okay. You know what? I'm fine with that. It's if we're getting to the point where we can actually get. Let's see. How can I? All right, guys, we're going to do some looking for some worms. I wish there would be. Oh, wait a minute. What's that? So those big bag things are. What is that? The magnification isn't great on this. Yeah, so okay. Let me see if I can make this better. No, sorry, that's not going to work. Trying to get a. Give me a second. Get myself back on. Sorry, everybody. I got knocked off. All right, back on. Eliza Ann says, I'm in no rush, going to slow gather info and build up to it after that. Eliza Ann, that is the best way to do it. Too many people, they get into breeding gung-ho, and then it's just way too much. So take the time. So let's see. All right. Well, we can look around in here a little bit. Howard wants to breed Brookesia nana. Make it happen. You got, oh, dude. I don't even know if there's quota on nana yet. That's what Howard is talking about is a very small Brookesia from Madagascar. Let's see. No. So these big things are just bubbles. And then the rest of all the debris is, is that it? Oh, I wish I could. How can I? Gosh, no. Okay, I'm looking at here. That is not. All right, give me a second. I am going to. I'm going to do some quick searches. Give me a second here. I am going to, because I really want you guys to be able to see something. So we're going to keep looking here and I'll keep talking. Let's see how kind of it would need medicine. Yes. Thank you, Howard. Yes. Yeah. All right, guys. We're gonna find some good stuff. Just hang tight, and I will check questions. Gosh, I'm not seeing any eggs on this one. Guys, I am going to make sure that you see nematode eggs. This has got to happen. Got to happen. But I'm curious. You know, if you guys read the journal, especially the closing words, and actually in the article about establishing a species, I do a lot of thinking about just what exactly are we trying to do here. And I mean, it's in one hand, it's an important question. It's something that we should be thinking about. On the other hand, I've come to realize we may really not need a specific answer. It is possible that we can just accept that we believe that it's the right way to go, and we're going to try to do it. And I think it's going to be a huge accomplishment for us as a community. But I'm interested in your all thoughts. What do you guys think about going through all this effort to establish a species? Wait a minute, what's that? Could that be? That's not it. Gosh, this is the first time that I've been disappointed that I can't find nematodes. That's all a bunch of just space junk. You guys see Star Wars? And all the spaceships hide in the junk. Yeah, well, that's what we got here. It would be nice to have 1,000 times. Yeah, it would be nice to have 1,000 times magnification. I'm probably gonna have to work on doing this better. I'll get this down. This is fun being able to take people along. So right now I am pulling in the other poop. Oof. All right. That was a mess. And so, this is it. Come on, guys. We all gotta. This is it. We're gonna find something. Yeah, not a whole lot of debris on this one. Oh, hey, we got water flowing. Well, not water, fecasol. So what you're seeing is that even though I have this slide and it looks flat, it's really 3D in there. There's still fluid flowing. And the reason why you see things come in and out of focus is because what I'm doing is I'm focusing through the thickness of the liquid there, because that's on the microscopic level. There's a lot of space in there to move around. Can't believe I'm not finding interesting stuff for you guys. So now I've gone off of the slip cover. We're starting to see the crystals from the fecasol. I think it's old. I need to get new stuff. Oh, wait. Is that it? Is that one? Guys, we may have one. Oh, let me see. So excited. Yes, that's one. All right, everybody. Right there in the center. Let me see if I can. You see that it looks like a pill shape? That is a nematode egg. And a number of nematode eggs will look similar, whether it's hookworm or pinworm or things like that. You can really go in and tell the difference if you're really into parasites. I'd love to work with hookworms, actually. But the important thing when you're working with chameleons is we call these panicure worms. I call them panicure worms because all of them are affected by fenbendazole, which is panicure. It's the wonderful thing about panicure is that it, at least in mammals, it has a high level of safety. Now, unfortunately, sometimes things don't come over from mammals into reptiles, but at least at this point, we believe it to be safe. And I will say that chameleons deal with panicure. In my experience, they deal with panicure much easier than they'll deal with, say, a sulfa drug like Albon. So it is actually good news that I am dealing with a nematode instead of coccidia, because coccidia would be a pain in the butt. Now, when you have worms, say pinworms or something like that, and that gives you a dose to be given once every 2 weeks, what that's doing is it's trying to hit the adult stages. And fenbendazole works on parasites by disrupting their ability to absorb carbohydrates. And so when panicure comes into the system, the worms can eat all they want, but they don't get the nutrition because they can't absorb the nutrition. And so essentially, the worms are going to starve. Any eggs that are around, though, are not going to be affected, and they will grow up. And so it takes about 2 weeks for these worms to grow up. And so that's why you hit them once every 2 weeks. And so we'd say, okay, well, theoretically, you should be able to get rid of your entire population in 2 doses, because you get rid of the adults, everything grows up, and then you hit them again in 2 weeks, and then you should get rid of the adults. Theoretically, but nothing's ever perfect. And so that's why you generally, at least I generally, do 3 doses 2 weeks apart. And I've already done 1 dose, and obviously I've got eggs and stuff. So now I've got some adults in my chameleons. And so I'm going to be hitting them today and tomorrow with another panicure treatment. And I will expect to see nematode bodies next week, because these will be the worms that will have starved to death, essentially, and will be flushed out. So I got to see some of those at the end of the last treatment. Obviously, some of them got away, but so I'll be looking for that. And this is why it's really important to have that curiosity mindset when you're working with chameleons, is because you understand why these things are and you know what to look for. And so if you enjoy that kind of mindset, well, then this is a perfect place for you. And because we're going to be continuing to go over this. And so I am very glad that I was able, I mean, I guess I'm disappointed that I was able to find an egg, but I'm very glad for the sake of the show. And so you could all see this and enjoy. So any questions about nematodes, parasites, panicure, any of that wonderful stuff? Let's see if I can, we'll go ahead and look around a little bit more. We've already seen one. Oh, wait a minute. There we go. Makes it really hard to take pictures. That's okay. I've got a lot of these. So yeah, think about it. Any questions before we go off for the day. And then I am going to spend the afternoon recovering from my last night of complete craziness. Oh, look at that little thing. That's kind of fun. That's just debris. Because what we're seeing here is everything that wasn't fully digested. And this is all the I call it detritus, this gastrointestinal detritus, all the stuff that comes out. So for anyone here who has not taken a look at the journal, that's my digital magazine, just go to chameleonacademy.com and you'll be able to see it. And this is something that I'd be very interested in hearing your opinions of. Establishing a chameleon species, there's a lot of philosophical stuff. It's not just a black and white science. And so I'd be interested in hearing your thoughts. When you listen to the latest podcast, read the article in the Chameleon Academy Journal, let me know what you think. What do you think about establishing another species? Is it something that you believe is worthwhile? Obviously I do, and I'm going forward, but it's still kind of a nebulous thing. Is it worthwhile? Why is it worthwhile? Let's explore that a little bit. And even if it's not going to change what we're doing, we are going to go forward and going to try to establish this species, but let's learn a little bit about ourselves and what's important to us and why is it important to us as human beings. So I'm interested in hearing your thoughts. Let's see. What happens to wild chameleons with parasites? Do they just live with it? The answer is yes. But there is a balance in nature. They do live with a small level of parasites, but it's at a small level. Nature has balanced itself so the parasites don't get out of balance and kill the chameleon, because the parasites don't want to kill the chameleon. That's their host. The chameleon dies, they die. That's not a good success strategy. So the parasites want to actually self-limit. They don't want to overwhelm their host. So there is this balance in nature. And the way it works is that the eggs, the worms in the chameleon, and we're going to do general, every parasite has a different life cycle, but let's go ahead and talk about the standard nematode, the worm. The adults will be in somewhere within the gastrointestinal tract, and they will absorb the nutrition of their choice, whether it's carbohydrates, whether it's blood. Well, we actually don't know what the hookworms are getting out of there, but let's call it blood. And then they produce gobs of eggs. Now, these eggs go out in the feces and they go down to the forest floor, and somehow the eggs in those feces need to get back up into the chameleon's mouth. And you can imagine how difficult that is for this little poop on the floor. A fly has to go down to that poop, and then a fly has to get eaten by the right kind of lizard. Because if it gets eaten by a bird, well, that parasite is dead. They can't jump from birds to lizards. They are so attuned to the gastrointestinal tract of their preferred host it's not swappable. You can't just live your life in a raccoon and a chameleon. It's got to be a chameleon. And so the chances of that happening are pretty slim. So the parasite, to get over that, makes gobs of eggs, hundreds of thousands of eggs, and with the intention that only a few of them are actually going to live and find the right host. Well, WizBiz, what happens is when we bring them into captivity, number one, the whole importation is a huge stress. Whenever there's stress on the body, they can't suppress the parasites, because the parasites are always fighting against the immune system. Chameleon's immune system doesn't want them there. So the parasites have to defend themselves against the immune system. It's a constant battle. If the immune system gets weaker, well, then the parasites can grow in numbers. And if you put a chameleon in a cage, you're still producing hundreds of thousands of eggs that are now at the bottom of the cage that are in a very closed situation with the chameleon. So you've got the host, you've got hundreds of thousands of eggs, and now you put in feeder insects. The cricket jumps out, goes down, runs around the bottom of the cage, walks around in the poop, gets tagged by the chameleon, and you now have taken out all of those eggs that are going to die in the wild. They're not going to die now. They're all going to spawn and hatch within the chameleon, because you've reduced the amount of space that all of this can work in. And so that is why, yes, chameleons can handle a small amount of parasites. If a chameleon has parasites, we don't really panic. I mean, those of us who've been around for a while, we don't panic. But we realize when we mess with the natural balance, we can inadvertently do something that's going to allow the parasite population to explode within the chameleon to where it's unnatural. So we get rid of parasites to make up for us creating an unnatural experience around the chameleon. And so we've got to take away parasites because we took away the amount of space that the entire cycle can work in. Hopefully, WizBiz, did that explain it all? That was a long drawn out. Let me know if you have any questions, or anybody has any questions about the parasite life cycle and why we do what we do. See, there are so few things that are black and white. It's like parasites are bad. They're not really bad, but when there's too many of them, yeah, then they're bad. And we are responsible for the conditions that allow parasites to get too bad or too much. So, it's all nice and complicated how that all works. Let's see. CS just got here, so I have no idea if you're covering this, but I had a Jackson's that died from an unknown parasite. Can you highlight parasites, diseases that might be coming in with field-caught Jacksons? Inspector Gadget says, Howard says, coccidia are included. Well, coccidia are just horrible beasts. They are totally under the same conditions, but they just won't die. So yeah, we just torch coccidia. And there's a big problem with parasites that can hatch and live within the chameleon and go through the life cycle within the chameleon. That's bad news. But anyway, parasites that might be common in field-caught Jacksons. Well, CS, it really depends upon whether you're talking about field-caught Jacksons from Kenya or from Hawaii or wherever in the United States they're being bred. Yes, in Kenya, there are some parasites that could cause a problem. Field-caught in the United States, I'm not sure exactly what parasites would be there. They would need to have found some parasites that can transfer to chameleons, which some reptile parasites that come from the Western Hemisphere. But died from an unknown parasite. CS, I don't know the background to all of this, so I don't want to make assumptions or accusations or such, but unknown parasite sounds like a really iffy, um, uh, an iffy diagnosis or reason. It's it's to blame the death on something that cannot be measured. Almost as I'm not going to second guess. Maybe whoever made this diagnosis went through a careful analysis of all the options and said, okay, there is a parasite because I have seen these indications that there is parasitic activity, but I couldn't find the parasite. Maybe it was a bloodborne parasite and I couldn't find it where I was looking. So maybe there was that kind of in-depth analysis. If there wasn't, I would suspect that there's something else going on because unknown parasite is kind of vague. We have ways of detecting parasites. It's not hard. So if we're talking about unknown, well, how do we know that there's an unknown parasite? What indications are we seeing that there's a parasite, but we just can't detect it? So there's more to this story than just an unknown parasite. Nematodes are probably the biggest parasite you find. Biggest, you mean most common, or the absolute the largest bodied? Yeah, sometimes you can see worms. Bought in from Triple L Reptile Online. Not sure where they're oh, it could be from anywhere. Okay, so the vet said it was unknown to him. Does that mean he saw something under the microscope and said, yeah, this looks like an egg, but I'm not sure what kind it is? I mean, that's possible. So if the vet meant, if unknown meant an unidentified, wasn't able to identify the species, I can understand that. If you look under the microscope and you see it teeming with all of these eggs, yeah, you can say there's a real problem here. So maybe that's what your vet saw. But I mean, there should be a way to say, okay, this looks like nematode eggs. I'll give panic here. This looks like flagellated protozoa. I'll give a flagell, a trundazole. Oh, this looks like coccidia. So, yeah, I don't want to second guess your vet. If you've had your vet take a look at it, depending upon how experienced the vet is, they very well, this may be exactly what's going on. So I don't want to second guess the vet. I don't have enough information to make a judgment on this. But as far as what's coming in, I mean, you've got the basics. You've got the worms. You've got the flagellated protozoa, coccidia. So the Jackson's chameleon, if they're field caught, so if they're from Kenya, it's more likely that they're going to have that kind of stuff. If they're from the United States, which there are some feral colonies, then it's really hard to figure out what kind of parasites they picked up. But I would be interested, this would be a good question to ask if you are still in communication, what gave the vet the idea that there was a parasite involved? Was it looking at the fecal and seeing just a whole boatload of stuff? Why did the vet think that this was life-threatening? And I know you may not have the answer. You may not have the ability to ask the vet, but it would be very interesting education-wise to say, what did you see, vet, that led you to conclude, to make this conclusion? And so that would just be interesting. Yeah, and Howard says, no reason a DVM would ever say that, in my opinion. Howard, I see this a lot. The thing is, we're also dealing with a person's interpretation of what the vet said. And so we got to be really careful not to make judgments on this vet until we hear what the vet exactly said. Because sometimes vets can go off, just like your doctor goes off and starts saying a bunch of words, and you pick out of it what you can, but it's not always exactly what the vet said. I mean, I've had situations where people go into the vet and and they're just pressuring the vet. And I'm not CS. I'm not saying this is what you did. I'm just generally speaking. I had people like they pressure the vet into give us ideas as to what's going on. And so the vet will just come up with ideas of what could happen or what could be happening. It's just like, okay, there's a 10% chance that this could be happening. We don't know, but here's a handful of ideas of what could be happening. And then they'll go on to Facebook, social media, and say, my vet said that my chameleon died because it ate pothos. I mean, there's a whole group that says that. So based on one of these conversations. And so this is how things just explode when a vet just gives some ideas. Well, this could maybe happening. Well, a lot of times what the vet is saying, it needs much further exploration and testing before we conclude that. So I've learned to be very careful in judging the vet until you get some written word or something exactly why the vet said what they said. Anyway, vet said it was unknown to him. Okay, that's fair. So lots of, right now we're just talking. Anybody want to see any more? I am glad we found one egg, and I'm very glad that it's this difficult. See, it is miserable, guys. I gotta say, don't get wild caught. It is such a miserable experience and a lot of work. And sometimes you just can't. I mean, I'll take these guys to the vet for anything, and it's still we don't have the solution to everything. So if you can, wait till the F1 generation. If you want to get involved in Shamrock Chameleons, if you have experience with wild caught, absolutely welcome you to be part of the founder generation. But if you just want a really cool project that you can do with the community, wait to the F1s. You will have such a nice experience, especially with these chameleons. Oh my goodness. When you see how long their tail is, it's like, I remember having one with its tail fully extended, how far back I had to get the entire chameleon in. It's such a special species. I am so lucky to be able to work with them. I feel so good about it. I am very happy about this project, and I'm glad so many of you. Oh, what's that? Oh, that's a piece of something, and I'm glad that a lot of you are excited about it too. It's a lot more fun to do it as a community, and I'll make sure I get some great F1s for you guys to start off with. So let's see. You are very welcome, CS. Wind Hunter, I want to have a free-range chameleon in a screened-in patio in Florida. Do you know which species is best for this? Probably the veiled chameleon. Veiled chameleon is so hardy. I mean, and by that they can adjust to so many different weather patterns, and depending upon where you are in Florida, they may be wild there. Panther chameleons are wild there in Florida as well, but they are more restricted in what they want to put up with. The panther chameleons go through a rough winter. They can go down close to freezing and they'll survive, but they look like they've been put through the ringer. Veiled chameleons, they can be frozen on the ground, and when it warms up, they get back up, they shake it off, and they raid your liquor cabinet. So I would say veiled chameleon would be the one that you would have most success with. All right, everybody, I am going to take the afternoon off and rest from the journal. Please, the most special thing you can do is enjoy the journal. I am doing it because I want it to be an awesome chameleon experience. So please enjoy it to its fullest. There are some affiliate links in there. That's how I support it. So if you're going to get anything from the bio dude, I mean, there's cages, there's like screen cages, there's UVB bulbs, there's bioactive. Use the coupon code Chameleon10, and and I get credit for that, affiliate link for that. So it's that's one way that you can, at absolutely no expense to you, support me and what I'm doing. But please enjoy the Chameleon Academy Journal. That's what it's there for. Get your cup of coffee, sit out on the patio, and flip through it. So let's see. Liza, and you know how big the clutch size is for the shamrocks? Somewhere between 20 and 30. I hope to have more data points. There aren't a whole lot of data points. There's been a couple of people who have had clutches before, but we got to be careful not to put too much on just a couple of data points. So anyway, they're somewhat manageable clutches. Carpet chameleons are great. They're much more manageable because they have fewer, but it's not like Daramensis at 40 to 50 or Jackson's. Yeah, it can be up to 50 babies. So it's a manageable species, and I like that about them. And they are slow growing, which is good because I like a species that gives us time to grow with, and it's not this like carpet chameleons. Those would be a quick. They grow fast, reproduce, and so you get these generations quickly. I like the ones that have a slower generational churn. So Maldives, hello Nanu. Maldives, all right. All right, everybody, it is coming time for us to show. My computer is anyway. It is coming time to say goodbye. I want to thank you very much for joining me here. Next time I'll be live will be next Tuesday on Instagram at 5 p.m. Pacific. And other than that, please enjoy the podcast. Please enjoy the journal, and let me know what you think. So thank you very much for joining me here, and I will see you on Tuesday or next Saturday. Bye.